First contact and fatal mistakes. The massive dreadnought Eternal Dawn emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sol system, its crystalline hull gleaming under the distant sun's light. Supreme Commander Thax stood on the bridge, his scaled fingers drumming against the command console as he studied the holographic display of the third planet. Life signs confirmed, Supreme Commander, reported Navigation Officer Kira, her compound eyes reflecting the soft blue glow of the scanning equipment. Several billion inhabitants, pre-FTL civilization. They haven't even established permanent settlements beyond their atmosphere. Thax's mandibles clicked in amusement. In his 3 centuries of service to the Cronus Empire, he had overseen the integration of dozens of primitive worlds. Some required gentle guidance, others needed firm subjugation, but all eventually accepted their place in the grand design of the Empire. Deploy the standard greeting protocols, Thax commanded. Let them witness the majesty of the Cronus Empire and understand their future. The Eternal Dawn's communication arrays powered up, broadcasting the Empire's message in every conceivable format. Radio waves, light signals, even primitive digital packets. The message was simple: submit to Imperial rule and receive the benefits of advanced civilization, or resist and face obliteration. Earth's response came within hours, transmitted simultaneously from multiple military installations across the planet. The message was short, precise, and delivered in perfect Imperial standard. To the Cronus Empire, we have observed your approach. We have studied your ship's capabilities. We strongly advise your immediate withdrawal from our system. Humanity has spent millennia perfecting the art of warfare against itself. We do not wish to demonstrate this knowledge against others, but we will if forced. This is your only warning. Laughter erupted across the bridge. Even Thax allowed himself a moment of amusement at the primitive species' bravado. Their scans showed no energy weapons, no shield technology, nothing that could possibly threaten an Imperial vessel. Launch the first wave, Thax ordered. 3 corvettes should be sufficient for their education. The Imperial corvettes Swift Justice, Starfire, and Imperial will move toward Earth, their commanders having performed this operation countless times before. A show of force, a few precision strikes at military installations, and the primitives would surrender. They didn't expect what happened next. What the Empire had dismissed as orbital debris, ancient satellites, and space junk, suddenly activated. Hundreds of small nuclear devices hidden among the debris detonated simultaneously. The electromagnetic pulses crashed through the corvette's shields, which were designed to stop energy weapons, not crude nuclear explosions. Ship systems flickered and died. But that was just the beginning. From Earth's surface, hundreds of missiles launched. The Empire's tactical computers dismissed them as primitive nuclear weapons until they split apart mid-flight, releasing thousands of tungsten rods. These simple pieces of metal, accelerated to incredible speeds, tore through the disabled corvettes like paper. Impossible. Thax roared as he watched all 3 corvettes break apart in orbit. They're using kinetic weapons. No species has relied on such primitive methods in millennia. Earth wasn't finished. Small, agile craft emerged from hidden bases on the dark side of the moon. They were ugly, practical vessels, built for function rather than form. The Empire's sensors barely registered them as spacecraft. They were more like armored boxes with engines. These craft darted between the corvette's wreckage, capturing intact pieces of Imperial technology before the Empire could respond. Within hours, they had disappeared back to their hidden bases, carrying with them the seeds of humanity's technological leap forward. A new transmission came through on all frequencies. That was merely a demonstration using our most primitive weapons. We have not yet shown you how humanity truly fights. You have 24 hours to leave our system. If you remain, we will assume you choose war. Consider carefully. You have not yet seen what happens when humanity stops being nice. For the first time in his long career, Supreme Commander Thax felt a chill run down his spine. The elegant trap, the use of simple but devastating weapons, the immediate capture of advanced technology. These humans didn't fight like any species the Empire had encountered. As the Eternal Dawn retreated to a safe distance, Earth's nations were already mobilizing. Hidden war plans were activated, underground factories began production, and humanity prepared for what they had always excelled at: war. The Cronus Empire had made a terrible mistake. They had threatened a species that had never known true peace, a species that had turned war into an art form. Now they would learn why humans had warned them to run. The art of asymmetric warfare. The Cronus War Council chamber pulsed with angry voices as 12 high commanders debated the humiliating defeat at Earth. Supreme Commander Thax stood before them, his scales now a pale shade of gray from stress. 3 corvettes lost to primitives. High Commander Zena sneered, her crystalline augmentations glowing with rage. Your ships must have malfunctioned. They used our own arrogance against us, Thax insisted. They turned their orbital debris into... Enough. Zena slammed her metallic fist onto the obsidian table. We will crush these humans with overwhelming force. Prepare the 7th Fleet. In a hidden facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral James Rodriguez watched holographic projections of Imperial ships gathering at the edge of the solar system. His command center, carved into the oceanic bedrock, hummed with activity. They're bringing nearly 2,000 ships, reported Lieutenant Patel, looking up from quantum sensors. Older models, though. They still don't think we're worth their latest technology. Rodriguez smiled. The Empire still hadn't learned. They thought quantity would overcome Earth's primitive weapons. They hadn't realized the humans had already learned from their first victory. Initialize Operation Hydra, Rodriguez ordered. Across the solar system, seemingly abandoned cargo ships suddenly powered up. These vessels, officially registered as derelict, had been drifting in space for months. Each carried a deadly surprise. The 7th Fleet arrived in perfect formation and straight into humanity's trap. The cargo ships exploded, not with nuclear weapons this time, but with something worse. Billions of microscopic carbon fiber filaments coated in corrosive nanobots. In space, even a tiny breach could be fatal. The Imperial ship shields, designed to stop energy weapons and kinetic impacts, were useless against this chemical and biological attack. Hundreds of Imperial ships began dying from millions of invisible wounds. Atmospheres vented into space. Crews scrambled for emergency suits as the nanobots ate through hull plating. Now, Rodriguez commanded, launch the Vultures. Small, dark ships emerged from hiding spots throughout the asteroid belt. These vessels, painted with experimental light-absorbing metamaterials, were Earth's first purpose-built space warships. They carried no energy weapons. Instead, they launched simple titanium harpoons connected to carbon nanotube cables. The harpoons pierced the damaged Imperial ships. Then the Vulture ships fired their engines, pulling their massive prey apart like wolves bringing down larger animals. It was brutal, primitive, and terrifyingly effective. Status report. High Commander Zena demanded from her flagship, safely behind the main fleet. We've lost 60% of our ships, her officer reported, voice trembling. Their weapons, they're so simple our computers don't even register them as threats until it's too late. Zena watched in horror as another wave of derelict ships appeared, launched from hidden bases on Venus's dark side. Earth had turned the entire solar system into a fortress. Meanwhile, in a research facility hidden under the Himalayas, Dr. Aisha Rahman examined the captured Imperial technology from the first battle. Her team had already made breakthrough after breakthrough. Their technology is advanced, she told the United Earth Defense Council through quantum-encrypted channels, but it's predictable. They haven't faced a real war in centuries. They stopped innovating. We can catch up faster than they expect. She gestured to the prototypes behind her, hybrid weapons combining Imperial energy technology with human ingenuity. They gave us exactly what we needed, working examples of their tech. Now we're improving it daily. Back in space, the battle was ending. The 7th Fleet retreated, leaving behind hundreds of destroyed ships. But human vessels were already moving in to salvage the wreckage. Each piece of Imperial technology would be studied, reversed engineered, and improved. Admiral Rodriguez reviewed the casualty reports. Earth had lost only 28 ships, an acceptable cost for such a victory. But he knew the real war was just beginning. "Send word to all commands," he ordered. "The Empire will return with their best ships next time. We need more traps, more weapons they've never seen before." He paused, then added, "And send them another warning. Tell them we're still being gentle." In her private chambers aboard the Imperial flagship, High Commander Zena watched recordings of the battle, her crystalline augments pulsing with fury. These humans didn't fight like civilized beings. They fought like cornered animals, like guerrilla warriors of ancient myths. But in her gut, a feeling was growing, one foreign to most Imperial officers: fear. What would these humans do when they stopped playing nice and started fighting for real? The Empire had awakened something they didn't understand. A species that turned defeat into opportunity, that learned from every failure, that grew stronger with every challenge. And humanity was just getting started. Evolution of combat. The Imperial Science Academy was in chaos. Hundreds of the Empire's brightest minds gathered around quantum holographic displays, their scaled faces illuminated by projections of Earth's latest military innovations. None of them could comprehend what they were seeing. "They'd weaponize our own gravity drives," senior researcher Nix exclaimed, her bioluminescent markings flashing with agitation. The hologram showed an Earth vessel using modified Imperial propulsion systems to create localized gravity wells, turning space itself into a weapon. "That's not the worst part," another scientist added. "Look at this." The display shifted to show human ships using repurposed terraforming beams to flash freeze Imperial vessels, making them brittle enough to shatter from a single kinetic impact. In the highest spire of the Imperial Palace on Cronus Prime, Emperor Vexthor watched these reports with mounting concern. His chief strategist, High Admiral Rylick, stood nervously at attention. "How?" the Emperor asked simply. "How are they adapting so quickly?" The answer lay in the massive underground complex known as the Crucible, carved into the heart of Mars. Dr. Raman stood in the central laboratory, surrounded by Earth's greatest scientific minds. Before her, a holographic display showed their latest creation, the Chimera-class battleship. The Empire's greatest mistake, she explained to the assembled military leaders, wasn't attacking Earth. It was giving us time to study their technology. She gestured to the ship's schematics. "They've used the same designs for millennia. We're rewriting their rulebook daily." The Chimera was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Its hull combined Imperial energy-dispersing crystals with layers of human-developed metamaterials. Its weapons systems merged Imperial plasma technology with human innovations in kinetic and chemical warfare. Most importantly, it carried something the Empire had never conceived of: hybrid AI systems that combined quantum computing with human intuitive thinking. "Launch the first wave," ordered Admiral Rodriguez from his new command center on Titan. "Show them how humanity wages war." The Empire's elite guard, led by High Commander Zena herself, had come to finally crush the human resistance. They brought their newest ships, their best shields, their most powerful weapons. They expected to teach humanity a lesson in Imperial superiority. They were wrong again. The first Chimera-class ships appeared seemingly from nowhere, using cloaking technology that combined Imperial phase shifting with human stealth materials. But while Imperial cloaks required massive energy expenditure, the human version was elegant in its simplicity and nearly perfect. Multiple targets, all vectors, screamed an Imperial captain seconds before his ship was torn apart by a weapon that shouldn't have existed. A hybrid beam that combined Imperial plasma technology with human nuclear physics, creating a stream of artificial quantum singularities. The humans had learned from every previous engagement. They knew the Empire's ships needed exactly 2.3 seconds to recalibrate their shields after firing their main weapons. The chimeras timed their attacks precisely, decloaking, firing, and vanishing again in under 2 seconds. "This is impossible," High Commander Zena shouted from her flagship. "These primitives are using technologies that shouldn't work together." A human voice broke through on all Imperial channels. "We warned you. We learn. We adapt. We evolve. And this is still just the beginning." The Elite Guard, the Empire's finest warriors, broke under the human assault. But this time, instead of merely destroying ships, the chimeras began capturing them. Teams of human Marines, wearing powered armor that seamlessly merged Imperial shield technology with human engineering, cut their way into Imperial vessels. The Empire's soldiers, trained to fight with elegant energy weapons, found themselves facing humans armed with weapons that defied classification. Rifles that fired both hyper-accelerated projectiles and plasma bolts, grenades that created localized time distortions, even simple metal blades enhanced with Imperial phase-shifting technology that ignored shields completely. In the Emperor's palace, reports of defeat arrived one after another. Emperor Vexthor watched his best fleet die to weapons that his scientists had claimed were theoretically impossible just months ago. "They don't think like us," the Emperor realized. "Every defeat teaches them. Every victory makes them stronger. And we've given them exactly what they needed to surpass us." On Mars, in the depths of the Crucible, Dr. Raman and her team were already analyzing data from the battle, designing new improvements, pushing the boundaries of what was possible when human ingenuity met Imperial technology. "The Empire still thinks we're fighting at full strength," Admiral Rodriguez reported to the United Earth Defense Council. "They don't realize we're just testing our new capabilities, learning their remaining weaknesses." The council leader nodded. "Then it's time for Phase 3. Show them what humanity can really do when we stop holding back." In deep space, the remains of the Elite Guard drifted like a warning. The Empire had awakened something they didn't understand. A species that didn't just use technology, but transformed it, improved it, combined it in ways its original creators never imagined. And humanity was only just beginning to show its true potential. The Empire strikes desperately. The Imperial supply ship Boundless Glory dropped out of hyperspace expecting a routine delivery run. Instead, it found devastation. All 12 Imperial forward bases in the sector had vanished, not destroyed, simply gone. In their place drifted clouds of crystalline debris and disabled patrol ships. Captain Mira's mandibles twitched nervously as her ship's sensors screamed a warning. A human fleet materialized from what appeared to be empty space, but these weren't the hybrid warships from earlier battles. These vessels were something entirely new. The human ships were obsidian arrows against the starfield, their hulls incorporating living crystal grown from modified Imperial technology. They moved with impossible grace, as if anticipating the Boundless Glory's evasive maneuvers before they began. "Imperial vessel," a calm voice transmitted. "Your supply lines are severed. Your forward bases have been relocated. Choose. Surrender or retreat." In the Imperial capital, Emperor Vexthor faced an increasingly desperate war council. Reports showed that half of the Empire's supply lines had been severed in the past month. Humanity had changed tactics, striking not at military targets, but at the Empire's infrastructure. "They're not just fighting our ships anymore," High Admiral Rillick reported, his scales pale with exhaustion. "They're dismantling our entire logistics network. Fuel depots, repair yards, supply lines, all vanishing without a trace." "Where did they get such advanced ships?" the Emperor demanded. "Their technology was primitive mere months ago." The answer lay in Earth's new shipyards, hidden in the dimensional folds of spacetime. A technique reversed engineered from Imperial FTL drives. Dr. Raman stood in the central design hub, watching automation systems construct humanity's latest achievement, the Prometheus-class vessels. "We've done more than just copy their technology," she explained to Admiral Rodriguez. "We've fundamentally reimagined it. Their crystal-based computing, we've made it evolve. Their energy weapons, we've taught them to learn. The new human ships were terrifying works of art. Their living crystal hulls could repair themselves and adapt to damage. Their hybrid AI systems combined machine precision with human intuition. Their weapons were elegantly brutal gravity lances that could tear ships apart at the atomic level, quantum disruptors that could remove sections of enemy vessels from reality itself. "Begin Operation Oracle," Rodriguez commanded. Across Imperial space, human ships began appearing where they should never have been able to reach. The Empire had assumed their core worlds were safe, protected by ancient defense networks. They were wrong. Using principles derived from Imperial FTL technology, human ships could now create micro-wormholes, bypassing all conventional defenses. They appeared in the heart of Imperial systems, struck with devastating precision, and vanished before the Empire could respond. The Empire's response was predictable. They gathered the largest fleet in their history, 10,000 ships strong, for one desperate push to crush humanity once and for all. "Let them come," Rodriguez told the Defense Council. "Everything has proceeded exactly as we anticipated." As the Imperial Armada approached Sol system, they found something unprecedented. Nothing. No debris fields, no hidden weapons platforms, no signs of human presence at all. Even Earth itself appeared abandoned. "It's a trap," High Commander Zeno warned, but the Emperor himself had taken command of the fleet. His pride demanded action. The Imperial fleet advanced cautiously toward Earth. When they were halfway through the system, reality itself seemed to shatter around them. The humans had turned the entire solar system into a weapon. Using their mastery of Imperial FTL principles, they had created a web of microscopic wormholes throughout the system. Now they collapsed them all at once, creating a cascade of spatial distortions that ripped through the Imperial fleet like tissue paper. Ships were torn apart, merged with their own mirror images, or simply ceased to exist as space-time convulsed around them. The Empire's proud armada discovered too late that they were fighting not just humanity, but the fundamental forces of the universe itself. From quantum folds around the system, the human fleet emerged, not to fight, but to offer mercy. They rescued survivors, neutralized dangerous wreckage, and stabilized the space-time distortions before they could spread. "We warned you," Admiral Rodriguez transmitted to the Emperor's crippled flagship. "We offered peace. Remember that. Remember also that what you've seen is still not the full extent of what humanity can do. The question now is, will you finally learn?" In his ruined command center, Emperor Vexthor stared at the transmission, finally understanding. Humanity hadn't just adapted Imperial technology. They had transcended it. They fought not with brute force, but with imagination, turning the laws of physics themselves into weapons. And as rescue vessels approached his ship, bearing not weapons but medical supplies and emergency support, he realized humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology at all. It was their capacity to combine ruthless efficiency with unprecedented mercy. The war was nearly over, but its final act would reveal humanity's true nature to the galaxy. Humanity ascendant. The great hall of the Imperial Palace fell silent as Emperor Vexthor rose from his crystalline throne. Before him stood not just his war council, but representatives from every major species in the Empire. They had come to witness something unprecedented. The Emperor of the Cronus Empire preparing to sue for peace. "Show them," Vexthor commanded quietly. The hall's holographic systems activated, displaying the devastating aftermath of humanity's final defensive action. But more importantly, it showed what happened after: human ships rescuing Imperial crews, providing medical aid to their enemies, stabilizing dangerous spatial anomalies to prevent civilian casualties. "We began this war believing we faced primitives," the Emperor addressed the assembly. "We ended understanding that we ourselves were the primitives all along." Meanwhile, aboard the new human flagship Prometheus, Admiral Rodriguez and Dr. Rahman prepared for the peace delegation. The Prometheus itself was a testament to how far humanity had come, a vessel that represented the perfect fusion of human creativity and Imperial technology. yet went far beyond both. They still don't fully understand what we've achieved, do they? Raman asked, watching the ship's living crystal walls pulse with quantum information streams. No, Rodriguez replied. They think we've merely mastered their technology. They haven't grasped that we've fundamentally changed the rules of what's possible. The Prometheus wasn't just a warship. It was humanity's first true post-scarcity vessel. Its hull was composed of self-evolving crystals that could reconfigure themselves at will. Its quantum AI core combined the best aspects of human consciousness with machine precision. It could manipulate gravity, space, and time itself, not through brute force, but through elegant understanding of the universe's fundamental laws. The peace conference was set for neutral space, at a point equidistant between Earth and Cronus Prime. As the human delegation arrived, the Imperial representatives couldn't help but stare in awe at the Prometheus. The ship seemed to phase in and out of reality, existing in multiple quantum states simultaneously, its crystalline surface reflecting not just light but possibilities. Before we begin, Rodriguez addressed the assembly. We want to demonstrate something. He nodded to Raman, who activated a holographic display. The display showed Earth's latest breakthrough, technology that could terraform dead worlds into paradise planets in months rather than centuries, food replication systems that could end hunger across the galaxy, medical advances that could cure diseases thought incurable. This is why we fought so hard, Rodriguez continued. Not for conquest, not for revenge, but for the right to develop our potential. We don't want your empire's territory. We want to help transform it. The Imperial representatives were stunned. They had expected demands for reparations, for territory, for military concessions. Instead, humanity was offering partnership. High Commander Zena, her crystalline augments now dim with humility, spoke first. You could have destroyed us. Why show mercy? Dr. Raman smiled. Because that's the true measure of civilization, not the ability to destroy, but the wisdom to know when not to. We fought to prove ourselves your equals. Now we offer to be your partners in building a better galaxy. The peace treaty that followed was unlike any in Imperial history. Earth would remain independent, but would share its innovations with the Empire. In return, the Empire would open its vast database of scientific knowledge to humanity. Together, they would forge a new era of exploration and discovery. As the treaty was signed, Emperor Vexthor turned to Admiral Rodriguez. There's one thing I still don't understand. You could have won this war in the first week if you deployed technology like this Prometheus immediately. Why didn't you? Rodriguez's answer was simple. Because we needed you to understand not just our power, but our restraint. We needed you to see that humanity's greatest strength isn't our ability to wage war. It's our ability to imagine a better future and work towards it. In the years that followed, the galaxy witnessed an unprecedented transformation. Human innovation combined with imperial resources led to a golden age of discovery and advancement. The hybrid technologies they developed together solved problems that had plagued civilizations for millennia. And in the heart of the Prometheus, as it prepared for its first mission of joint exploration rather than war, Dr. Raman made one final entry in the ship's log. The Empire thought they were coming to teach primitives about civilization. Instead, they learned the most important lesson of all. True civilization isn't measured by the age of your technology or the size of your empire, but by what you choose to do with the power you possess. Humanity didn't just win a war. We won the right to show the galaxy a better way forward. The stars beckoned, and this time, humanity and the Empire would explore them together, not as conquerors and conquered, but as equals united in the greatest adventure of all, discovering what was possible when innovation met wisdom, when power met restraint, and when former enemies chose to forge a future together.